Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm Larry Ziliaks, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And this week, our guest is Jennifer Beeston. She is the #1 VA loan officer in the country. And I'm really excited to have her on because this is one of the things that I think is really important for veterans, because every veteran knows about VA loans. Very few veterans know what a VA loan is, really. And I actually was looking at some of her videos and recognized the one that said only about 26% of veterans out there take advantage of this awesome service from the VA. And it's great to have somebody on who can help us understand the process and kind of get our listeners pointed in the right direction, so they either use her services or find a loan officer who's familiar with VA loans and take advantage of this service, because you guys have earned it. So, Jennifer, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to fill you in as much as I can about VA loans and what people should be looking out for.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your background and how one becomes the #1 VA mortgage officer in the country.
So I've been a mortgage loan officer for 17 years. I didn't really start focusing on VA until about 6 years ago. So I did VA. It just wasn't my passion. And what happened is, and look, my dad served in the Navy. I didn't serve. My husband didn't. But what happened is I basically noticed huge pricing discrepancies. At the time, I was a local lender in California, and I came up against another lender on VA because I still did a little bit, not as much as I do now. And the rate the veteran was being charged was over 1% higher. They were being charged thousands of fees more, and it was the exact same day that they had gotten quoted. I was outraged. You don't see levels of difference in rate and fee in conventional loans or jumbo loans. But in VA, the more research I did, the more I saw how common it was, and I wanted to change it. So my journey has been a journey of education, A, making sure veterans understand their benefit, but B, I mean, to be totally blunt, my goal is to make veteran borrowers the most aggressive rate shoppers, because these people who have been ripping them off, they need to leave the industry.
Yeah.
So that's, and look, whenever you're passionate about something, people feel it. Like, they know my team and I are there to make a difference, that we're going to walk them through every step, but they also know that we're going to make sure that they're taken care of. And, we have a lot of people that come to us going, hey, am I getting a good deal? And if they are, cool, great. And if they're not, we're going to save them some money.
Awesome. So who is eligible for a VA loan?
So the eligibility varies based on when you serve. And I would generally say the best reference is going to be va.gov has a breakdown. Now it's pretty quick. Now it's within 90 days of service. But prior war periods, it was a little bit more convoluted. But I'll tell you, I'm more surprised when someone isn't eligible than when they are. Like, most people seem to be eligible, and we can figure it out really quickly.
Does the veteran have to be signed up with the VA for services like medical services, or be registered with the VA in any way before they try to apply for a loan?
No. So basically, I mean, look, they have to be a veteran or currently serving, right? You would fill out an online application, and we literally have a bot that pulls your certificate of eligibility from the VA site. That's how most lenders get your certificate of eligibility. There's some lenders that don't have that capacity, so they'll ask the veteran to get the certificate of eligibility, at which point you would have to go onto the VA Gov site and grab it from there.
Now, you mentioned a veteran or currently serving. So are these loans available to active duty service members?
Oh yeah, yes, of course. So, and look, that's a great question. That's why I really wanted to do this. There's so many questions about VA that people just, they make assumptions. Yeah, you can get a VA loan while you're serving. I've actually seen people build up some pretty incredible real estate portfolios
Hmm.
by buying a house every time they PCS.
Yeah. So instead of
So
selling the old house, they keep it, rent it out, and then PCS and use a
do it again.
VA loan again to purchase a second?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. So, and look, it depends on where they are in the country. Like, there's some portions of the country where people get stationed where it's not affordable.
Mhm.
Starting off, if you're in San Diego, best of luck to everyone.
Yeah.
But, if you're in parts of Texas, Ohio, the Dakotas, yeah. So I have a couple buyers who they're on their third house. They got all three of those with zero down.
Mm.
The next one, we've used most of their entitlement. So the next one, we're going to need to do some level of down payment. But no, there's so many opportunities with a VA loan. It's like, it's really unbelievable.
And so I think that's one of the things that makes the loan most attractive to veterans is that it's zero down. And
Mhm.
so they really do mean zero down, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And look, it's zero down, but there's also no mortgage insurance monthly.
Mm.
So if, for instance, you were doing a conventional loan with like 3, 5, 10% down, you would also be paying a monthly fee known as mortgage insurance that just benefits the bank. It doesn't do anything for you. Also, VA rates are lower than conventional mortgages. If you're ever talking to a lender and they go, oh, VA rates are higher, BS. They're ripping you off, walk away. And it can be significant. I mean, we can see, at least when I'm quoting, I can see rate differences where VA is 0.5% to 0.75 lower
Mm.
than conventional. It's a federally insured loan,
Mm.
very low risk.
And is that why there's no need for the mortgage insurance?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's federally insured loan. That's why there's no mortgage insurance. There's no credit score requirement in the actual VA guidebook. Of course, credit history comes into play, but like literally, so many people have heard things about VA loans like, oh, they're hard to get or they don't close on time. It's all nonsense.
Mm.
It's literally, yeah, I could go on and on and on,
Mhm.
but I'll let you ask questions so I don't go on a 20-minute rant.
Well, that's fine because I'm sure we'll learn from it. But one of the things that I had an experience with, but it was some time ago, right before the collapse, real estate collapse in 2008, we purchased a townhome. And at the time, the market was really, really hot. And the lender told us, look, VA loan, it's great, but the sellers are just passing up those loans. They don't want to sell to them because there's a stronger appraisal requirements. There's a little bit more paperwork and a little bit more for the seller to do. And do you still find that's an issue or?
I mean, look, so 2007, I came in the business in 2007. Mortgages weren't digitalized like they are now.
Mm.
So doing a VA loan would take a little bit more time because, yes, there is more paperwork,
Mm.
right? But technology has come along. So now, does it take longer to do VA than conventional? No.
Mhm.
Is the app process harder? No. Everything's digitalized so they can move fast. The next portion of that is, are VA appraisals more difficult? No, but that's a myth that persists. We still will hear from time to time agents, real estate agents, and loan officers trying to talk people out of VA. It's out of ignorance. They don't know what they're doing. If you talk to someone that knows VA,
Mm.
the real estate agent and the lender will fight to the death to try to get that benefit used. And, here's the thing too. Sometimes people go, oh, well, sellers don't like VA. Well, guess what? If a seller has 10 offers and one of them's cash, they're going to take that over a conventional loan or an FHA loan or any loan.
Mhm.
So, and also like I think there's a hidden strength in VA that most people don't focus on because they just focus on the negative. I have seen people accept a veteran's offer, give them help with closing costs. I had one seller who put on a new roof for a veteran because he wanted him to get the house.
Mm-hmm.
He was a patriot and he respected the service that the veteran had done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
there is some magic as well.
yeah, sure. There are a lot of people out there that will go out of their way
For
to
veterans.
help veterans. Sure, and
Yep.
that's great. Fees. Let's talk a little bit about fees because all loans come with a lot of fees. But where do the VA loans kind of rank? Are there fewer fees? Are they lower?
So it depends on the lender. So, okay, there's a couple different components to that. So I'm just going to break it down so that it makes sense. First of all, VA loans do have a VA funding fee. Okay. That is if you do not receive VA disability compensation. If you receive any monetary amount for VA disability, the VA funding fee is waived.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yep. And we're seeing more and more veterans, go to DAV and go to VFW and get the benefits that they really rightly deserve.
Sure.
So if you have VA disability, no funding fee. Otherwise, there is a funding fee, 2.15% for first time use that gets financed into the loan. Okay.
Okay.
If you're doing a cash out refi, it's 3.3% that gets financed into the loan. I'm not a huge fan of cash out refis in general, regardless of the loan type, unless it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we saw so many people strip the equity out of their houses in 2005 through 8.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Oh yeah, they got really jammed up.
Now, in terms of lender fees, this is where there's a lot of confusion because VA does not set what the lender can charge you. So, for instance, we waive our lender fee, which is usually $16.40 for VA loan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, VA allows lenders to charge up to 1% origination. We do not, but there are some very large lenders that do, and they word it as, well, we charge the 1% VA origination. They make it sound official. It's not. It's a cap, not a suggestion. But look, when you buy a house, there's other fees as well, title, escrow, third parties, that's regardless of the loan type.
Right. Yeah, those are standard. You're going to, no matter what you get, you're going to have to pay those fees.
Yep.
Where are you located?
Good question. Right now I'm in New York. I live in Florida. I moved from California to Florida a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I live in Florida, but I'm licensed in 48 states. So I do loans everywhere except for Utah and Rhode Island.
Okay. So our listeners can reach out directly to you to get assistance.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah. I actually have, and I can give that number. It's 786-933-2077. You can call, text. It's me and my team. My team's great people who really care. Sandy, Alyssa, Linda, Christina, they're 9 to 5, 7 days a week. I have someone who can answer a question, any question, planning to buy a house in a year, 2 years, and we don't charge for that.
Mm-hmm.
So use our expertise for sure.
Mm-hmm. And what do you suggest the lead time for somebody reaching out to you and thinking about buying a house? Maybe they're going to separate in a couple of years, or when should they be reaching out for you for that kind of help?
I think as soon as they have the thought that they want to explore home ownership.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because, a lot of times, especially in the transition period, people wait until 6 months before they transition, which is problematic in many cases because we can't use active military pay if you have less than 1 year left. That's all lenders for VA. So, it's definitely something that gets planned out. Now, look, if the veteran has a job lined up, we can get a job offer letter and qualify off of that, which we've done. If they're retiring, and we can calculate out the pension, which of course is public information, we can do that. disability we can't use until it's official. So, I think that's why it's good to just the minute they start thinking about it, let's just call, talk it through. We help people plan 2, 3 years in advance.
I really think that I think this is so underused resource for veterans. What's the best way to get the word out about this? Well, let's say this, listeners. You want to go to Jennifer's YouTube page. Let me tell you about a YouTube page that's just chock full of information. There are hundreds of videos on there. I mean, some are less than a minute.
Thousands.
Yeah, but many of them are 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes long. And I guarantee you're going to learn all about the VA loan and loan process. And I think the most important thing is that you'll come away feeling comfortable about Jennifer and dealing with her and her team. The YouTube page is real simple. It's at Jennifer Beeston, YouTube / at Jennifer Beeston. So be sure to check that out for sure. And then what's the best way for listeners to reach out to you? Is it just to call that number?
Calling that number, the 786-933-2077 is great.
Yeah.
And YouTube's great. And I also put together a free course. It's nostressva.com. It's totally free. It's videos in order in little bite sizes. And it's all the stuff so that like, hey, did you know you can buy a multi-unit with VA with 0 down? Like, that's pretty cool. Did you know you can ask the seller to pay for your closing costs and pay off some of your debt? That's kind of wild. So I put together the course as well, just because, look, I agree with you. This is underused. And what we really need is we need people sharing information, sharing intel, and really that will be the trick to people using it more.
Well, there it is, nostressva.com. You want to check that out. And I'm going to have all the contact information in the show notes. Jennifer, what's the most important thing you think our listeners should know about VA loans?
Shop your rate and fee. I can't say it enough. So like a lot of the lenders that veterans assume are like, a lot of people assume that VA has a preferred lender, or because something has veterans or a military type name, that they're going to get better service, better rates, better fees. I am telling you right now, shop the rate and fee. I cannot stress it enough. And like, you can literally call us and be like, hey, is this a good deal? We'll look at it. And if it's a good deal, we'll be like, hug your lender. And if it's not, we're going to tell you, because seriously, with VA, I see veterans getting ripped off every day, and it needs to stop. And the only way we can stop it is if people start shopping the rate and the fee.
Mm-hmm. Competition. Be an informed customer for sure. Well, listen, Jennifer, I really appreciate you taking the time to educate us about this and help us get the word out so that more veterans take advantage of this program, which is just an amazing program. And it's just too bad that the VA doesn't really get much information out there. I don't see much originating from the VA about this. So I really appreciate the work that you do in educating our veterans and helping them, you and your staff. That's wonderful. So really, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I hope that this helps at least one person get into a house and have a good experience.
Well, I am sure it will. So listeners, we'll have another episode next Monday morning at 0500. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can reach us at podcast@willingwarriors.org. Until then, thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.